Hey guys, it's Stratton, and I wanted to do a quick run through of this week's FRQs. So I've got two questions for you. Question number one is a 25-minute question. Actually, maybe it should be a little bit less since it is 7 points instead of 10, but we'll go ahead and give you 25 minutes on this one. This is a release question with one minor alteration. So question number one, trichomes are hair-like outgrowths on the epidermis of plants that are thought to provide protection against being eaten by herbivores, herbivory. In certain plant species, stem trichome density is genetically determined. Okay, so there's an experiment, and they've gone and they've sampled 3 different populations. They've looked at 6 plants in each population, and they've calculated the mean number of trichomes per square centimeter on those plants. So the standard error of the mean is given to you there. It is 1 for each of them. So the student created the following graph to illustrate the sample means of the 3 populations. That's a 95% confidence interval, so sample mean plus or minus 2 SEM. Okay, so looking at that now, you're going to use the data provided in the graph to analyze that data. So based on the sample means and standard errors of the mean, identify the 2 populations that are most likely to have a statistically significant difference in the mean stem trichome densities and justify your response. So identify is a verb that's simply asking you to say, these 2 are different, and justify is tell us why they're different. How do you know that they're different? Okay, question part B, describe the independent and dependent variables in a control treatment for an experiment to test the hypothesis that higher trichome density in plants is selected for in the presence of herbivores. So you're gonna have to come up with your own experiment involving herbivores, and you're gonna have to tell us what the independent and dependent variables are going to be and describe the control treatment. So what would you do to have a control in your experiment? Okay, identify an appropriate duration of the experiment to ensure that natural selection is measured. So in other words, tell us the amount of time that you need in order for us to determine if natural selection is taking place. And predict the experimental results that would support the hypothesis. Okay, so this part here is 5 points. So part A is 2 points, the identify and justify. Part B is 5 points, the describe, independent, dependent, and control, identify, and predict, for a total of 7 points. You need 25 minutes to answer that question. Okay, part B, or excuse me, question number 2. The stems and fruits of pineapple plants contain a group of protein digesting enzymes collectively called bromelain, and often used as an anti-browning agent for fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables brown when they are bruised during transport or sliced and exposed to air. This browning is controlled by enzymatic pathways that produce brown pigments. The browning of fruits and vegetables reduces the nutritional value of the food, so anti-browning agents such as bromelain are used. Part A, identify the type of monomer of which this enzyme is composed. So all you have to do is tell us what's it made of. Part B, bromelain works by breaking the enzymes that cause browning into smaller molecules. Explain how the reaction that breaks up the enzymes occurs. So you want to go through and give us a little bit of detail about how that reaction actually takes place. Okay, part C, the pH of a solution determines the charge of certain R groups. The pH of pineapple fruit ranges from 3.5 to 5.2. Predict the effect on the activity of bromelain if it's used in a product with a pH of 11. So in other words, you need to give us a prediction. What will happen if you change the pH from 3.5 to 5.2 to 11? And finally, provide reasoning to justify your prediction. So what is the scientific concept that underlies your answer to part C? This is a 4-point question all told. Okay, I hope that's helpful.